Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. It's Amber Williams coming to you with a little bit of Sunday wisdom. I hope you've been having a wonderful, blessed day, that you're recharging and rejuvenating yourself in preparation for your work week ahead. I know sometimes Sunday evenings can come with the Sunday blues as we start thinking about our Monday. But I just wanted to spend some little time in talking to you today because you're wonderfully important to me and I didn't want to miss a Sunday with you guys. And so I asked the question in the title of this message: do you feel rushed? Now, when I say that, I'm not talking about the kind of rush that you feel when you're supposed to be ready at a certain time and you still haven't put on your clothes and done your hair. I'm not talking about the kind of rush like you're stuck in traffic and you know you're supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock and it's 7:50 and the GPS says it's going to take you 20 more minutes. Not that kind of rush. What I'm talking about is the rushed that feeling that you get when you see other people doing things, having things, accomplishing things that you desire to do. You know, sometimes when we see that, we get this feeling that things aren't happening quickly enough for us. Maybe it's that thing that you really want. You want to buy a car or buy a house, or maybe you want to graduate. You want to finish school. Maybe you are looking to have a child, or you want to get married. Something, some goal that you have in your mind, and you see other people around you doing it. And you start to reflect on yourself and you feel like you're running out of time. And sometimes when we get that feeling, when we feel like we should be moving faster or something should be happening for us and it's not, we have a tendency to go out and try to force things to happen. Maybe you do something the wrong way just to say that you have it or you did it. You take shortcuts that are going to cause you problems in the long run, you know, just so that you can say that you've done it. Maybe you're rushing to go buy something that you have no business and you end up spending too much money or getting a bill that you really couldn't afford because you didn't wait for the best deal. Or maybe you rush into a relationship because you are so anxious and feeling rushed and pressured to be in a relationship with someone that you get into a wrong relationship, or you settle for something that you weren't meant to have. So I just want to drop a word to you today that you should not let somebody else's journey, somebody else's accomplishments, or things that they're getting done to cause you to rush your own timeline, because that's exactly what it is. You have your own timeline in due time for you, your time, God's time. Sometimes we sell ourselves short. We block our own blessings by trying to rush things that were not meant to be in the way that you were thinking that it should be. Maybe what you have in store for you, what's coming in the future might be bigger than you could have even hoped for. But because you're rushing, because you're jumping the gun, you know that expression, like when the racers are getting ready to start the race and the gun goes off, you get penalized if you start before the gun goes off. And it's called jumping the gun. And so many times in life, we jump the gun. We do something that we're not ready for because we see people around us doing it and think that that means we're too late. There's not an age limit on the things that we are to accomplish in our lives. And it's not too late. You have to operate according to your own timeline, the timeline that God has in store for you, and not be rushed or pressured by what you see happening around you. You don't know anybody else's journey. You don't know what they sacrifice to do what it is that they're presenting to you, and on social media or wherever it is that you're finding out that they're doing what they're doing. You don't know what their journey was. You don't know what their sacrifices are. You don't know what their story is and how they got to that point. You don't even know that even though it looks like a good thing on the outside, whether it truly is a good thing in their life just because they're presenting it as so. So all I'm saying is slow down and do things in your time. When it's right for you, when it's ready for you, you do it. And you do it with quality, and you do it with excellence, and you do it with pride. There's no shame in doing things in your timeline. It's okay if it takes you a little bit longer to finish school. It's okay if it takes you a little bit longer to write that book and get it published. It's okay if it takes you a little bit longer to get that job that's in your career field that you got your degree with. It's okay if it takes you a little bit longer to find the man or the woman of your dreams so that that you can have a happy marriage. It's okay. Do not be rushed by the pressures around you of people who think that you should be doing something in a certain time frame. You know what's right for you. So just pause, slow down, be happy for whoever is doing whatever it is in their lives, that it came for them at the time that it did. But that doesn't mean that you should feel rushed. That doesn't mean that you should feel pressured. Okay? Everything for you is in due time, because I tell you, when you try to force something that doesn't fit, at the end of the day, it's going to cause you more problems than what it was worth. So don't sell yourself short. Don't block your own blessings by pushing something, rushing something, doing something that's not in the right time. And look, I'm telling you, there are going to be people who are going to question why something hasn't happened for you yet. And you know, there's a phrase that we use all the time, and it's called delay does not mean denial. And what I like about that phrase is sometimes when there's a longer timeline for something, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen for you, that the answer is no. But the reason why we call it delay is not because it's truly delayed. We say delay because we have a concept in our head of what's supposed to happen and when. And when it doesn't happen according to that timeline, we think it's delayed. We think it's behind. But if we really pause and think about it, God has a timeline for us, and everything about him is on time. There's nothing late about the God that I serve. There's nothing delayed about the God that I serve. It's on time, always on time, never late, always on time. And so when we think about it, our ability to wait, our demonstration of patience lets us know that we will be ready for what God has in store for us. Because sometimes there is something that he has waiting for us. Something that he has waiting for us that we're not ready for. The place that we're in life, we're not ready for that thing we want so badly. And so if we were to get it now, if we were to rush it, because we have free will, and even though it may be a little bit more difficult for you to go out and do that thing outside of your timeline, it still could happen. But you realize you have a lot of hurdles. You have to push through some extreme challenges to get through it. And things just seem like they're not falling into place. And that's why it ends up that it's more problems than what it's worth. But when you do things in God's timing, it seems to fall into place, and things seem to just work well, and they gel together, and you get to reap those benefits. But sometimes we have to be prepared for that thing that's waiting for us. And the reason why we can't have it right now at this moment is because we aren't ready. There's some things that we have to do in our lives for those things to fall into place for us. So I'm having a little technical difficulties, but anyway, so sometimes we have to get right within ourselves. And so that's why we don't want to rush things, because when it happens, it will be so amazing and so beautiful, and you will enjoy it, and people will celebrate you. You will be able to celebrate yourself. But don't feel down. Don't feel depressed. Don't feel too old. Don't feel too slow. Don't feel not smart enough. Don't feel not good enough, because things aren't happening for you exactly when it's happening for someone else. Know that things will happen in your due time according to God's plans for you and how it's supposed to be in your life. And know that when it's your time, when it's time for you, you will be lifted, you will be elevated, you will be celebrated, and it will taste so sweet to you. It will taste so sweet. So I just caution you guys, as you see these things happening around you, just instead of feeling some kind of way about it, being bitter, being envious, or feeling, down about yourself, celebrate those other people and the journeys that they've gone through and the things that they've had to sacrifice to get what they've gotten. And know that the same things will happen for you. That you will be blessed in due time, that you will receive what you have asked for in due time, when the time is right for you. Because sometimes we can go and try to grab a thing that we think is good, and that good thing blocks us from that great thing that we could have had if only we were patient and had waited. So while you're waiting, in the meantime, while you're waiting, start working on yourself. Figure out what it is that you can do to be prepared for the blessing that you're seeking. How can you be better? How can you be a good steward of what you have now in order to prepare for what's to come? How can you be ready to receive what God has for you? How can you start getting right? And praise him in advance. Thank him for it in advance, because you know it's coming according to his time. So don't feel rushed. Do not feel rushed at all. Do not feel down. And it will happen for you according to God's will. If you have not heard it today, I love you. I love you. I love you. And be blessed.